Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ring Psychology Panel. First and foremost, I want to thank our esteemed guests for joining us. We'll go down and introduce them shortly, but I also want to thank you guys for coming and supporting. Hope you're having a good convention.
Yeah.
So we'll go down the line and we'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
I'm former WWE Victoria, also known as TNA Tara, and Lisa Marie Barron.
Rob Van Dam! Sorry,
World's sweetest man! I'm Jervis Martinelli, actually.
Make sure you tune into Chikara Pro, where Gentleman Jervis is a big star.
And championship wrestling from Hollywood.
Shad Gaspard, prime time. And Conan Stevens. You don't know me, I wrestled in Australia for 9 years, and I used those skills to get myself into acting, so you will know me as the Mountain from Game of Thrones. As much cooking in person as
So today we're going to be discussing the nuance of professional wrestling. We're going to talk about storylines, plot, and character development.
So we won't be talking about WWE. Okay, this is
Ladies and gentlemen, what is your most favorite storyline or character interaction that you've had in the ring, any promotion? There's so many.
Yeah. Are you saying like favorite match and an interaction with a fan? Is that
Sure,
what
we
you're
can go with that.
saying?
Storyline in terms of the character they portrayed and how they interacted with, say, your foe, your opponent. If you were a face, how did you interact with the heel, etc., etc.
For me, I did not like being a face. I was way better at being a heel. And
Yeah.
my favorite
Yes.
character was the psychotic girl. Yeah, and it was like our rival, Trish and I had like an agreement. We just laid in. We just beat the hell out of each other, and just to get a little bit of response from the fans, a little bit, at least. So, yeah, that was me.
Call it a storyline if you want, but my favorite guy to wrestle has always been Sabu. We both come from the same. We come from the Sheik in that school of thought, and I wrestled in All Japan for many years, which is almost like a forgotten part of my career in most of my bios, but it was a really big part of my career. And we didn't even speak the same language as those guys. I didn't do any vignettes or anything. And a story would come out of a match where the match would kick ass so much you want to see the rematch. And I've done that. And with Sabu, of course, with all the extreme build-ups in ECW, and also Jerry Lynn.
I would say that one of my favorite stories that I was a part of was last year during a year-long round-robin tournament. I was on a team. Sorry about that. I was on a team full of, well, for lack of a better term, losers. Even though we lost all the time, there was someone called Princess Kimberly who came to our rescue. And we got to stand side by side as she lifted us up from obscurity and from being losers, and well, she made winners out of all of us, and together we became the Challenge of the Immortals champions for 2015.
I would probably say that my best storyline or anything being part of was probably with me, my partner, Miz and Morrison, because the writers kind of like all wrote us off, like all four of us. They were like, me and my partner, they didn't really think we could do anything because they didn't know I worked with black folks apparently. And then with Miz, they cast him as the reality guy, and with John, they cast him as the flippy guy. And we created a storyline with social media, with MySpace, thanks to like guidance from Paul Heyman and a lot of other like writers who are now the top writers, but back then weren't nobody. And I remember first, I think it was like Cyber Sunday or something like that. It was a tag team titles for the match or us for the match, and we beat everybody out. So they had to put a tag team title match on Raw the following night because they got so pissed off that the fans actually chose us. And we actually created our careers, and because of that, even without the company, we were still who we are. So.
Yeah.
Okay, my favourite storyline would have to be the one with brother against brother. One's much bigger, much stronger. Already gaining a reputation for a lad of his age. Held his brother's face to the fight. Sorry.
That's Game of Thrones, you son of a bitch. Next question.
So follow-up question to that. How much of the character that you play in the ring is a part of you? What bleeds into reality? What is absolutely diametrically opposed? And what do you bring in with you?
How I got the psychotic character was, yeah, I don't. But when I wrestled, I would grapple and mess around in the ring, before shows. And Finley just says, "You wrestle crazy," and I said, "No, I wrestle intensely," And I learned in Memphis, so it was a little bit more exaggerated kind of wrestling, and I got the psycho character, and now looking back, part of my personality. I'm a bit I'm pretty crazy.
You're very sweet.
And crazy. So, yeah.
Already 420.
I think I'm pretty consistent, and whenever you see me on TV, that is definitely a side of me, for sure. When people meet me, they automatically think like they know me, and they think that I seem genuine before they know me. And I pride myself in being genuine, so that must come across in my character. People always say, "You seem so down to earth," and then when they meet me, then I think they realize even more so. But the difference is in what makes a person, and it's in your values. RVD the wrestler, if I'm gonna wrestle Shad, I gotta sell tickets to you. I'm gonna fucking kill him. This match means more than anything. My fucking parents, my baby, So that's always been like my least favorite part. I just want to get in the ring and show off.
To see him prepared for matches. I mean, this guy is so freaking flexible. It's just so flexible. Yeah, but it's incredible. And he prepares like, what, 3 hours before a match?
It's a little exaggerated.
No, it's
I'm not at the building until like 30 minutes before the match.
This is very true.
Is that the truck?
My biggest problem is that sometimes I'm too nice in the ring. I'm not fierce and angry enough. Mr. Van Dam here. Perhaps you're pretty cool if I remember correctly, but you can get intense when you need to, and I think that's
So Mr. Cottonbelly, if you were going to challenge Shad to a match, how would you do it as opposed to Rob and how he did it?
I suppose I'd say, Mr. Shad, if I may call you Mr. Shad, I'd politely request your presence in the ring for a polite grappling match, counted to one fall, preferably with a 3-second time limit.
Nah, I would say that honestly, mostly all of me is what you see, what you get. I'm just a big asshole who likes to hit people and smile while I do it. So, you know, like honestly, I remember when we first came out, we were like, oh man, the WWE's making you do this gimmick, and we're like, what gimmick? As Ron and Victoria will tell you, I do steal things in the back and I do hide things from people. And we do play practical jokes on people, and that's just because I can and I like it. But no, man, I mean, I always was told that who you are in the ring is, you know, who you really are with the volume turned up way loud. It just so happens that in my personal life and in my regular life, I am the volume turned up way loud. So when I got in the ring, all they had to do was pull me back a little bit, like do a little less, don't do so much. You know what I'm saying? And once I got that psychology and that mentality of less is more, then it was all good after that. But yeah, what you see, what you get, seriously.
Okay, I started my career as a good guy, obviously, because you don't know what you're doing. So it's easy to come out and smile and shake hands. And I turned heel when I learned how to work properly. In both situations, I just extrapolated my personality. So when I came out happy, just come out real happy and be everyone's best friend. And when I turned heel, I just took a different side of my personality. Because I used to work security, and I used to work some pretty nasty places with some very undesirable people. So I just took the way I spoke to them, took the profanity out, and used it for the wrestling. So it's basically just taking a part of your person. For me, it was taking part of my personality and multiplying it. If it's you, Shad, yes.
How do you feel about yellow people?
Oh, he likes yellow people.
Stop it! So let's move on to the topic of the promo. Getting on the mic, either getting the crowd to love you or hate you, furthering that story. How much prep do you like for that? Do you like to get on the mic and improv, knowing basic plot points? Do you like it worded out for you? And have you ever had any interesting or memorable moments while on the mic?
For me, promo was not, my forte, and that was very difficult for me. I was always nervous doing that, but I didn't like things written out for me. We just like the points of like what we need to hit, and then say in our own language, instead of having to say something that the writers would say. So, it's easy for me to be a heel, because, not my promos, but when I go out in the ring, and then usually like some girls that are fans, and it's not my job. They're supposed to hate me, so I'll go out there and I'll say something, especially when they're with their boyfriend. So that immediately turns them against me, and then it trickles out in the audience, and then they all start going, "What did she say? Are you serious?" And then I get them to hate me. Yeah, so.
When you said you were heading down here and I was eating the trail mix, they tweeted a photo of the mess that I made.
So while we were walking to the panel from the panel prep room, RV needed a little more time to enjoy his trail mix. And then right as we were leaving, it showered him. Trail mix shower.
And then tweeted it and said, "I really just made this mess and we love it." Promos. Promos are how you sell the excitement and the build-up of the match and how you gain the fans' interest. The UFC has ripped it off so much. And I mean, about everything is. Muhammad Ali was the greatest fucking, but it's all the same though. And at least with wrestling, it's like, it's out there for the entertainment aspects. When UFC guys talk shit to each other and building up to the match, you're like, there's no way I'm going down. I got him on speed, I got him on stamina, I got him on strength, I got him on experience. This guy's got no chance. I'm gonna end his career. And they're talking shit about each other, and they have like an okay match, and they're hugging afterwards. I hate that shit. I mean, unless they're really tore down and earned each other's respect in the fight, you know, then it's like, all right, you know, that's worth a hug or something. I used to be told when I was in WWE by Johnny Ace that we needed to see an angry RVD. You gotta get angry. They really thought that's what the money was.
I need to see angry RVD.
Yeah.
I can't do it voice, but.
Hey, can you hear a point somewhere where you can like turn it on? Back in New Japan when we did with Akimono, okay? Akimono will come out there and we'll be like, okay, that's going to get over. So over here in the States, it should work, okay?
If you don't know, I'm not a formula guy in any which way whatsoever. I'm a complete nonconformist. When it comes to that, it's like utilize my uniqueness. You make a song one of a kind because you realize that. And every move I do, Jim Ross was like, so unorthodox, you know, no one else, you know, right, that's me. Why do you want to make me like everybody else? Just let me go out there and say, I know all the fans came to see me because I got all the moves. Get Shannon here to scream at you.
I think you just cut a promo right now.
Oh, this guy
I'll tell you where you go.
I was always told that your promo is your one chance to really connect with the audience and to leave them with something to remember you by. So no matter what I have to say, usually in my promo somewhere I leave a special little ditty that I think will help fans remember me. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
I say, when times turn tough and skies go dark, always remember and never forget, Jervis Cottonelli still loves you. I'm going to give you a big warm hug later.
I still feel like I'm being ribbed.
This is a long rib, yes.
Okay, so promos have to connect with the audience, they have to build somebody up, and then you gotta put it out there so the fans want to see it and want to hear it. So when I was a kid, when I was younger, when I was in high school, we used to watch, Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw was a shit for me and my boys. We'd see it all the time. And one evening we were watching Raw, and our world got upside down because ECW invaded. Because Rob Van Dam invaded. Because the guys that we watched in those bingo halls and on those, cable access channels, they invaded WWE, and we knew it was on. We knew that Rob Van Dam was gonna come out there, he was gonna do everything. Off the top rope, drop kicks, everything is gonna be on, because Rob Van Dam was the man.
Yeah!
He was gonna get angry and pull out his ponytail.
But see, the problem was that didn't happen. Rob Van Dam came out, Rob Van Dam didn't go crazy. Rob Van Dam came out, Rob Van Dam didn't push deserved. And whose fault was that? It was Rob Van Dam's. See, I don't give a damn about Rob Van Dam. What I do give a damn about is being the best in this business and being the best in this industry and showing that I am way better than Rob Van Dam will ever motherfucking be. Promos. You build the guy up, and then you take the guy down.
Right, I didn't have the camera time in Australia, so we did most of our stuff live. So he'd actually come out and rip the guy you're working against, but he'd also get into the audience. My favourite was one night I got a couple of children in the audience to cry. Their fathers were trying to climb over the railing to fight me, and we had a really good pop on that match. To end the match though, I went outside lay on the rails and the little child beat the shit out of me. I looked up and winked at his father, who broke into a huge grin. I fell on the ground and crawled away. Everyone was happy, and that child remembered that match for the rest of his life.
Now, when you're in there, obviously you're performing for the audience, you're performing for the crowd, like this great crowd right here. Have you had any experiences where the crowd was so into it that it was difficult to capture their attention, or the opposite, where no matter what you did, they just weren't there? No, you're not.
Yes, that happened to me twice this weekend. I'm not always the first to get into fisticuffs, you see, because I try to win matches in the most polite way possible. And, well, that can often make for some quiet crowds in the early going. But usually when they see me give a hug or some sort of warm embrace, they'll give me a nice polite tap and then quietly ask me to get off stage.
I think it's awesome when they go crazy and nuts and stuff like that. When I started, I was at OVW, and this girl, this mom called me the C word, and yeah, I can't even say it. But,
Cook?
Please don't. And
Crazy.
I looked, and I was just, are you kidding me? And then she had her 2 kids with her, and I just said, are these your kids? She's like, yeah, what is? And I go, nice role model, Mom. And I turned my back, and in OVW we didn't have railings. It was just like maybe velvet rope. I don't even remember. I don't even think we had any railings. And I turn around, and next thing I know it, the mom jumps on my back. And I'm thinking that one of the boys played a joke on me. So I'm like going, wait, is this to test me that, what do I do, like if someone just improvs? So I thought maybe she was in on it. And but you know what though? I also, I was a heel, and I was like, oh yeah, freaking hey man, I got in her head, you know what I mean? And so I was really proud of myself, but at the same time I was like,
What did you do to
kidding
her?
me? Huh?
What did you do to her?
I just said, nice role model, Mom.
But you didn't slam her or beat her.
No, she fell off, and then the boys came. Eugene, like all the boys came out and going. I was confused, and I was like, wait, I got a spot to do. He dozed off on my
Yeah, those.
Sounds like a fan interaction.
yeah.
Have you ever had a crowd that was so loud that they hit or
I mean, I think we all have. If you do it long enough, there's going to be a difference. There's a huge difference that you wouldn't even suspect in the energy from the crowds from the Northeast. Is so much different than say like Georgia and Deep South, and that's so much different than like Japan, which now so you can see how different the crowd is because you can see the footage now. And of course, ECW was unique, and now. Now when I go to England, this like Preston City Wrestling, I've never seen a crowd like that before. It was like a hybrid of an ECW and a soccer crowd. And I was wrestling this guy that I didn't even know who he was, and I thought, okay, it's gonna be a quick match. 10 minutes, we didn't even lock up because the crowd was entertaining themselves with like soccer chants, but they were interactive with this wrestler. And as soon as they would end one chant, and I think, okay, here we go. They would start another one. He was doing like lightsaber, like he was fighting with lasers, and his name was Darth something, and somehow they knew what he was gonna do, and they sang something. He played the bongos on the heads. Never seen anything like it. I've never seen a crowd like that. And now, the indie scenes are. They're strong now because there's not very much alternatives on TV. There's not much, so they're getting these cult followings behind them, which is nice. But all of us who've done it for a while have experienced the variation in the crowds and their reactions. But I've always taken the information and just used it to make up my own mind about who's saying it to me. So before I go out there, I love it when people come back and say, dude, they're dead out there. nothing I did worked, man. And I go, oh, okay, well, thanks for the warning. I go out there, they're like, RVD, RVD. Didn't have a problem.
The whole effing show.
It's not just because of the years that I've done it. I do remember, like in '92, when I was in WCW, and I was doing the same shit. I was doing, splits and spin kicks, but nobody knew who I was. So they wanted to see Sting come out and fight Vader or something, the main event. And I know that I have the superstar momentum, but besides that, when I go out there and do a 360 leg drop to my opponent on the guardrail, boom! And they give me the love then. That's not because they grew up watching. That's because that was some cool ass shit. Because I'm still giving it up for you.
No, we normally we get a good pop when we came out, you know what I'm saying? So it's always positive, but there were a couple of times like in Illinois, like I think I always hate when guys come in the back and be like, oh man, the crowd's not reacting. I'd be like, oh man, he must not be changing it up, for the crowd, because the crowd in New York is completely different than the crowd in Georgia and Florida, and you can change it up and you'll know certain spots that they'll buy and they won't buy. But I think we were in Illinois somewhere on a house show, and we were wrestling Cade and Murdoch. And like Jay was in the ring getting beat, and like I'm like, come on, Jay. The crowd was like, with this line, I turned the crowd like, come on. And the guy said, pull up your pants, nigger. And I was like, this is gonna be a short comeback. Come on, Jay. Let's go. Fuck out of here. Come on. But, yeah, it was like that was like one of the few times I remember the crowd was. They weren't feeling us. I just can't put my finger on why. But it's a learning lesson. And there's times we're going back to that same place, and like after a few years, and then they started feeling us more and more, and they were more accepted. But one bad mouth in the crowd can poison an entire section, and once that happens, it just starts going on and on and on. And some people just want to see the world burn. They just come to the show to boo and be douches, and it's like, come on, this is fun. So.
Just like expand upon that Robin and Shadow brought up. When you go out as a wrestler, you don't keep doing the same thing. You read the crowd and see what works. So I've been, one venue we turned up was a retired services place, and they had a certain budget they had to spend each month. We turned up and had the full hall lights on. The sound system was the intercom system, and we had 5 old dudes sitting by themselves drinking beers watching us. And the young guys were freaking out, and I went, this is perfect. Now you can do all the moves you wanted to try. And we can wrestle, actually, and bring the guys right into the show. Obviously, it's not successful financially, but you can play the crowd. By the end of the show, the 5 guys were really happy, and we got to muck around and just do anything we wanted, basically. So it was a big training session we paid for. Another time we worked in a punk nightclub where they had an international band arrive, so we had a lot of people. And for some reason, someone decided professional wrestling was a good mix with a punk crowd. It's not. So the first 2, the younger junior sort of wrestlers had absolutely no reaction at all. I was headlining, they brought us forward to try and get the crowd involved. I just went out with another fellow and we just hit each other, and that worked. Just stop pulling the punches and just go for it. That works. And, another time you go out and we had something similar, and the crowd decided I wasn't the good guy, I was now the bad guy. So we had to change faces halfway through the match.
Also, I wanted to include when we would wrestle and then they would start chanting puppies, we want puppies and stuff like that, which ticked us off because we were freaking killing each other out there, and then they wanted the boobs.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it was so disrespectful, but was part of the chant that the commentators put over.
Lawler's fault. Thanks, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry.
I love him, so yeah.
Deborah.
Yeah.
So no, we were walking into the ring, and it was me and my partner, and was he? No, it was Candace. And so like Candace come out there, she come out dance with us and like dance around. Candace is so happy, she's jumping, and this guy, like I'm right behind Candace, and like she's on this side, and he jumped over and like grabbed the boob, and Candace is like, she just freaked out, and I went hard as hell. He's like, "Get over me!" I took him, I was like, "Hey!" She's like, "Is he okay?" I was like, "Don't worry, it's okay. He'll be fine."
Now, you guys were mentioning territory or different cities and how each city is different and reacts to different things. Are there specific cities that you feel had better crowds, worse crowds, reacted to different things better? Is there one crowd that you loved to play to, like the beautiful city of Los Angeles?
Yeah!
Yeah, actually, West Coast is very difficult. It's not as loud as like Memphis, and it's a little bit different. I don't know. My favorite building was Madison Square Garden. So, but that was a hard crowd because they like heels. So it took a lot of effort to have them hate me. So, but they're super loud and just into it. And overseas too, and Japan is really quiet. They're just like, after a move, they go, and you're just not used to that. Like, ew, yeah. And but like Scotland and Ireland, those are crazy crowds, and you always expect someone to jump the fence. Jump the railing, and then you see Finley so excited to go out there to beat the hell out of him. Or Arn Anderson, yeah. So, yeah.
Now, okay. So in the recent years, we've seen the WWE Development Center. What are the pros and cons of the Development Center versus working your way up through the indies? Or are there pros and cons?
Well, there's pros if you're a wannabe wrestler and you get paid before you make it, yeah. We paid tuition, and I don't know if we speak for everyone here, but I'm just saying people from my generation and my, years of joining wrestling. First off, it was a closed-door society back then. It wasn't stuff, people on the outside weren't allowed to know anything that went on inside. And I had to prove that I was worthy to be trained. I had a tryout with the Sheik and Sabu. That's how I met them. It was in Michigan. It was in the middle of winter. It was really cold. It was in a garage that like a work on cars, a mechanic's garage that was closed, and they cut the ring in half, so it was 8 feet by 16. And I was in there with Sabu, and they were testing me, seeing what I could do, and if I had balance and coordination, and durability, most of all, and heart, this and that. And then after I was accepted, then I had to pay a tuition and sign a contract. And so it was around the WCW power plant days that they started paying wrestlers to train. And right away, we noticed if you find a guy at the bar that's never thought about wrestling, but he's a big looking bouncer, he's got a much less chance of being really good at it over someone that grew up watching and always wanting to do it, etc. And the product in the end, of course, is different now too, because you start out and you're a star already now with the NXT and all that. And being in the ring with them is quite different because of the big gap from the old school to whatever this is adapting to. And so I don't know if I'm not. Some people think that they need to have the old school guys mentor them. I don't know. Maybe it's just changing, and that's the way it is. I don't know. Everything changes and evolves, and I'm not fighting and kicking. I'm just pointing out differences, and there is a lot.
As someone who's never really been to the big dance, I have a lot of friends, well actually the majority of my friends who are independent professional wrestlers and have not made it to WWE or TNA perhaps. they don't really make a living wage off of wrestling. And I find that that can be difficult if you're trying to aspire to one day pay your bills through wrestling. It can be difficult to come up. So I know a lot of friends who they aren't able to support themselves as solely independent wrestlers, and they need a day job. So I think that the benefit of the Performance Center is if you get accepted somewhere like that, it's sort of like an elite academy. And you get to spend all of your time, instead of working on a day job or keeping yourself afloat, you get to spend all of your time training and learning. And that's what makes really great wrestlers. So I'm excited for the future now that the Performance Center has been running for quite a few years.
For me, I didn't do the indies, and I feel bad about that, but I'm a big fan, PWG, Ring of Honor, Jakar Pro, and all that stuff, which I'm enjoying going to indies more so right now than the TV, the other companies. And I'm sorry, but it's just really interactive, and I'm a fan. I'm one of those people who like to sit front row. And but I was very spoiled. I got signed. I spent $1,000 doing a videotape, the VHS back then, for my tryout video, and then I put a resume that was quite, it just took me a lot. And then I got a call from Jim Ross and Kevin Kelly and said, I've never received a tryout video that looks so good. And I thought everybody sent that in. I just, it was, maybe Los Angeles, you always just, acting and all that stuff. But I did get signed, and I was immediately put into developmental to, Memphis, OEW, so, and then UPW. So I was really spoiled, and I didn't know what the hell I was getting myself into, but I was in amazing schools with everybody that made it. But I was very blessed to be working with such great wrestlers. So I learned from the best, so, and I do like learning from the old school guys too. Like Fit Finley, Arn Anderson, stuff like that, so. And I apologize that I sound like a spoiled brat, but yeah, I was very lucky. I was very lucky.
I'm gonna say go Victoria because I did Tough Enough, and I did like Victoria. I made a videotape for Tough Enough, and literally the videotape was just me like knocking guys out from like FX Tough Mans and Muay Thai fights and boxing matches. And then I did Tough Enough, and then I did Tough Enough, and then they got my blood work mixed up with somebody on Tough Enough, and then they told me I had hepatitis, and I was like, fuck those bitches. Which one? No, but then my doctor told me I didn't, and so when they told me I didn't have hepatitis, I told WWE and MTV that they already knew on the show. So I actually went over to Holland because my family were from Dutch Antilles, and so we're Dutch citizens. And so I went to Holland, and I fought at Mike's gym and trained with Boss and Alistair and a couple of guys, and went to Thailand. And I fought in Thailand and won a couple tournaments. When I came back to the States, my agent at the time for fighting was like, K1 offered me a 10-fight deal. And then my cell phone was AT&T phone when I turned it back on because I was back in the States, and I had like 10, 20 messages from Tom Pritchard talking about, give me a call, love to talk to you, it's 10th time I'm calling you. You look for this opportunity all the time. And I'm like, oh shit. So I called him, and he's like, we've been trying to call you for 2 months, where you been? I was like, I was overseas. And he's like, well, we want you to come to, one of the shows and talk to you about possibly joining WWE. And I remember I went to the show as an MSG. I took my father, and I went down, and I came up, and Tom was at the elevator to introduce himself to me, and I met him, and I was like, oh, this is cool. He introduced Dwayne, everybody backstage, and we just shook everyone. And I saw Mysterio, and everybody was like, I remember Angie, I was 22 years old, but I'm like 320, 290. At 22 years old, so I'm a big kid. And like, I'm walking around backstage, and these guys I look up to, and I'm like, oh, in shape weight is 270. That's the small guys. You know what I'm saying? So like, I didn't realize like what my size was. And then Vince sat me down with my father, and they put my name up there, and was like, what do you think? And then like, I literally told my father, I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And they gave me a partial contract to go to OVW. I went down, trained with Sergeant Dwayne Bruce from WCW Power Plant, then went to OVW. And I remember when I got there, Dr. Tom came down, and it was me and another guy got signed too, one of my best friends, Paulie Enormous, Paul Fuchs. And Paul was like a big 330-pound Italian kid. And so you got this giant white guy, this giant black guy, we're sitting there, Nick Dinsmore, Doug Basham, all of them have been there for years. And he goes, Beast, Paulie, you boys should be on TV. And literally in that instance, everybody turned and looked at us and said, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because they had been down there for
Yeah.
several years, working their asses off. And us two big kids just came down there. And instantly we got the target name of Russ McCullough. And you guys don't know who Russ McCullough is, and that's for good fucking reason. Russ McCullough was a 7'2" giant. Moved like Kevin Nash, built like fucking Big Show, and was an athlete. But he was a piece of fucking shit and an asshole when it came to his business. He didn't respect anybody. And the night that Stone Cold put him over in OVW to launch him up to WWE, the boys are putting the ring together, and Rico Constantine is on the phone putting the ring together, and Russ McCullough's sitting down. And Stone Cold looks over at Russ and is like, that's the guy who put over the cornet. He goes, yeah, that's Russ. He's got all talent, long hair, good moves, everything like that. Like, yeah. And he goes, looks at Rico. And Rico's on his cell phone carrying the ring corner. Rico's a strong fucker. And he's carrying the ring corner, putting it up on his cell phone, talking. And Stone Cold goes, Rico, boy, get off the phone and put the goddamn ring together. He goes, Austin, I would love to, but my brother's about to commit suicide. Hold on a second. Hey, yeah, no, you don't need to do it. And Rico's talking to his brother, who's about to commit suicide, and is talking him down while putting the ring together. And in that instant, there was a huge dynamic of, here's a guy that wants to be here and has done everything and busted his ass to be here. And here's a fucking 7-foot gifted giant sitting on his ass ready to be put on to be made a millionaire. Steve said, fuck Russ McCullough. He said, tonight, I'm putting Rick Constantine over in the match. Okay? And just like that, Russ McCullough was never heard from again. And that is the example of what I never ever wanted to be. But right after that incident, I lost my contract. I lost the money WWE sent to me, and I got sent from the advanced class, put into the what's called a new class for beginner wrestlers. And they told me, what the fuck you want to do? I said, I want to be a wrestler. And I outweighed 300 people who came to OVW, 50 people who made it to the advanced class, 25 of us who made it on TV, and only 10 of us lasted more than 3 years. So I never got to go to Indies, and part of me regrets it, but this is my path, this is my door. But I take extreme respect for this business. And so when I see the new guys coming in and going to the Performance Center, and I got a couple guys down there, my boy Mata, he's down there busting his ass. I love him, he's taking care of my boy Chris, he's busting his ass. But they tell me stories about guys sitting there complaining and bitching and moaning about coming to class at 9 p.m. and leaving at 12 p.m. I'm like, yo, you guys go in there, you shut the fuck up and you listen and you learn. Because this business is not built off of fucking being pampered. It's built through hardship and going through things. And if you don't go through it at the Performance Center, before then or after then, you will never fucking amount to shit. There are guys on TV right now who cannot translate to you as fans because they haven't been through shit. They haven't had everything taken away from them. They haven't slept in their cars. They haven't fucking slept on the floor. They haven't had roaches crawling around them and fucking suffered. And there are guys who have, and you feel them. AJ Styles. You feel AJ Styles right away because AJ has been through shit. So you need to go through shit before you get on TV to translate to people.
Thanks for bringing the tone down. Suicide counselling is outside to the left after this. Unlike some other privileged people, some of us didn't have a choice. We had to do these because there was a great wall of water between us. So my plan was to basically work in Australia until I considered myself the best in Australia. I was definitely the biggest. I was 350 pound legit at the time, which is far out. It's about 50 pound heavier than I am now. So I worked until I did a match with an older fellow, and we did a 15-minute match, and we actually had 3 entire punches the entire match. And the crowd was into it the whole time. That's when I knew I was outgrown Australia. I went over to Power Plant, which was located in an abandoned carpet factory in the middle of nowhere in Atlanta. So I basically walked around asking taxi drivers until someone said, I took this big guy out to this place and left him there. That might be it. So I went out and spoke to them. But again, some of us don't have the opportunity. You have to work your way up. And some of the younger guys started doing the barbed wire matches and stuff like that. We'd watch the TV and see what the guys in America were doing. Every now and then someone would go over and actually go and apply or do a job, come back and everyone will be learning as much as we possibly could. So Paul Orndorff told me basically go home, get as big as you can, come back. I kept in contact, I didn't get any response. I called the number, I called the email, nothing. So I jumped on a plane again next year and went back. Went back over, knocked on the door again. What are you doing? Well, I didn't get a response, so I've come back again. So you flew over here just to get a yes or no? Yeah. Unfortunately, a couple of days before I left, I had an autoimmune disease, so now I'm going to bring everyone down again. Basically lost all the nerves through the side of my body. Went from doing 80-pound dumbbells, like superhuman, to couldn't even do a bottle of milk. So that destroyed my wrestling career, and I ended up working with computers for a few years. And then moved to Thailand and started my acting career there. So, or restarted it. I had one movie and 2 TV commercials in 15 years in Australia. I had one movie and 2 TV commercials in the first 2 months when I moved to Thailand. So that was a big help for my career. Moved to an action-orientated market. It was useful. Get away from the TV dramas. So there's another lesson for wrestling too. Move to an area that suits your style. Is also a useful thing. If you're a small bloke in Mexico, I'll go to Japan. I got a mate I used to wrestle. He's now doing quite well in Japan, but he's only like 5'4". He wasn't going to make it over here for a white guy, you know, or a yellow guy, whatever.
Which is, it's great about WWE, like the people that they're getting from indies, like Kevin Steen, AJ, like all these talented guys that are not the typical muscular, shredded, tall, gigantic. Now they're like expanding to.
We can't all be shredded, tall, and muscular.
It's nice that to see like that they're opening the doors for these indie guys, and then you see them work at these indie shows and you become like, you're just so proud. You're like, oh my God, I'm so glad he made it, So yeah, they've been working out. I mean, they've been working longer than, me for sure. And then they're finally getting the chance.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
What do you think about the toll that an indie wrestler like AJ Styles has taken on his body after so many years, and now he's just finally getting his real breakthrough? And how do you think that affects someone like him and what he plans to do in the ring?
You know what? Honestly, I feel like guys who are in the ring long enough, they either go 2 ways. They either learn how to work or they don't. And the guys who learn how to work and emote and connect with an audience, they know that this don't mean shit if we ain't got this. If we ain't got this connection right here, if you guys don't give a fuck about Rob Van Dam, you're not gonna care when he goes up and he splashes and he hurts his ribs for the umpteenth thousandth time, but he's putting his body in the line. And that connection, if you don't feel that connection, you don't care about the move. And a lot of guys, they always feel like doing a special move, having a special outfit. That makes it, it's like, nah man, when you strip us off of all the glitter and the glitz, if there's not a real connection here, you know what I'm saying? Like, Randy is Randy Orton. That's Randy Orton. Okay? That is the real Randy Orton. He is not playing a character. Okay? Seriously. Yes! Oh my God, yes! He loves the Hold on. We used to get directed by a guy named Dr. Black. And this guy was ruining people's families and careers because he was misdiagnosing on the test people who were considered drug-free and never do anything and getting their tests mixed up because he wasn't a real doctor. And he was walking by the locker room and Randy saw him and said, hey, come here, fuckball, come in here. And pulled him in the locker room and goes, hey, Dr. Black, here's Jeff Hardy. You're about to make him sit out for the fucking next year or so because you don't know how to read a goddamn fucking test. You want to apologize? He goes, oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Oh, hold on. Here's this guy. Here's this guy. Oh, here's John Cena. You know what? You never heard of this fucking name, I bet you. And that's Randy as a human being. He's a good asshole. He tells the fucking truth. What you gonna be mad about that for? You can't hate that guy. No, assholes tell the truth. And guess what? Happy to be there. Guess what? There's a lot of guys out there that are just happy to be on their show, and that's just not enough. And that's why you're not getting over. And that's why you're getting released, and then people are like, oh yeah, you've been coming for 6-7 years. I don't remember you, but yeah, but you know, you gotta. Rob's an asshole, but he's a good asshole. What about asshole? You know what I'm saying? Because you know what? They'll be like, hey, Rob, go out there and do this. Yeah, all right, I got you. And he'll do what he knows works for him. Because you know what? You can't control this. They can't control our connection, but they wish they could. And once they realize they can't control this connection, that's when they get scared. Because they know that you guys are vested into us, and we are vested into you. And that can be a problem for a company who's trying to be exclusive with talent.
So it looks like we have time for one more question to our panelists. There may be many aspiring performers in this very audience. Do you have any career advice for them?
Don't become a wrestler.
Too late!
I always say if I had a daughter and she said, Mom, I want to do what you do, I would say over my dead body, you're going to college. It's just, they don't realize, you guys don't realize, some of you don't realize we're on the road for 5 days a week. I've missed funerals, anniversaries, birthdays, because it's no off season. The show must go on. So you're not at home. You're with wrestlers more so than your own family. So I also suggest always having a backup plan, because you never know when you're going to tear your knee or something that's going to take you out and you have nothing to back up on. So I highly recommend college.
Well, I'll put a little more positive spin on it. I've got no regrets. I've had a fucking awesome career, and I have a great life because of it. People know me everywhere I go. The amount of people that recognize me every day doesn't equate to the amount of people that currently watch wrestling. Some of them stopped watching wrestling 15 years ago, but I impacted their life so much because they watched me, I inspired them, whatever. And that there's a power with that. It's an awesome power because it spreads love and positive energy. And everywhere I go, people are so excited and happy. And I don't know how some celebrities, they hate that. And people go up to me, oh, I know you hate this, but can I get a photo? Why do you think I hate it? You don't even fucking know me.
It's not Randy Orton.
But when I trained with the Sheik, he told me that I would visit parts of the world that I never would have thought I'd be in, and I never would have ever been in if it wasn't for wrestling. And I was just a kid in a small town called Battle Creek, and nobody in Battle Creek knew anybody famous. Quite different than LA. Nobody knew anyone that's ever on the other side of that TV screen. So my goals and expectations were such that I surpassed them long ago. I never said I'm going to be the world champion and my fans are going to look at me like I'm the best there is. I wasn't even in sports in school. I wasn't even told that I was athletically gifted until far into my career. And then I'd say, hey, maybe that's my niche. But I have to say, someone going into it, you got to know the odds are against you. Anyone trying to be a superstar in any field, the odds are against you. And I had the drive and the love to evade all the negative energy along the way, but it takes a proper combination. I mean, obviously, I got to have the right genetics to be as durable, or I would be broken up by now. I had to have the right training. I had to have the right sense to make a lot of choices, just like we all do every day. But I made the right ones that got me where I'm at. So I don't think just anybody can do it. A lot more people can do it now than could have done it when I got into it, because the door's a lot more open now. You can pay $20 and Google the local wrestling school and go work out. That's a whole different world. Doesn't mean you're going to be a superstar, but if you just got to get in the ring and get slammed, anybody can do that for $20. But people told me I couldn't do it. Boom, there you go.
There you go. Got the wrap up. So if people want to find you on social media. Oh, sure.
Yeah, so I was going to say, if you really want to be a wrestler, if you really want to be in this business, and you really want to do this, and I still say every guy that comes to OVW, every guy that comes to everything we used to do, like backstage, Vicky knows this, Rob knows this, we used to get told this every goddamn week of our lives. you know, you gotta love the taste of shit. In other words, meaning you have to love the taste of failure. Seriously. No, I mean like, you gotta love the taste of failure, because if you're coming in this just to win, I lost every single match I had in OVW probably, except for maybe like 4 or 5. And I was the biggest, the baddest, you know, and the blackest. But you have to literally, if you do not love this, if you do not love the taste of shit, if you do not love failure, okay, if you do not see failure as a step towards winning, you know what I'm saying? I have a boy, and we used to talk about it all the time, and he's like, man, I suck at this, because he goes on auditions for acting. And I'm like, do you know how many bodies you have underneath you? You have all these failures. And all these failures are piling up to that one success that you're gonna have. Crime Time wasn't my thing. It was the HNIC, it was me wrestling Val Venus, it was me doing this, I was to come up with Coach and all the other guys. It's like there's so many different things that led up to that one thing that finally got it. But if I had quit here, I would have never gotten here. And for some people, it's a lot more or a lot less. It depends on their determination and their willingness to learn. But if you really want to do this, you really want to have a passion for this, don't let anything or anyone stop you, no matter your body type, your body size, your age, whatever. Boogeyman was 40 years old. Okay? All right? Seriously. Nobody wanted to sign Festus to save their ass. All right? It doesn't matter your body. It's not matter if you're 6'6" bulletproof. That's not what matters. What matters is that you have something that connects with an audience that they don't see they have yet. And once they see it, you're there.
Connecting with an audience. If the audience wants to connect with you guys on social media, where would they find you?
I have a Twitter, a Snapchat, and Instagram. It's Real Lisa Marie.
Yeah, I'm at the Real RVD on everything, and I'll be at booth 61 for a little while after this. The lovely Katie Forbes.
You can find me at Gentleman Jonas.
You can find me at ShadBeast13 on Instagram and ShadBeast on Twitter, and I'll be outside at the Mexican taco stand.
Yeah!
I'll be keeping Shad from the taco stand because I'm ordering first. And you can find me, Conan Stevens, you can search on anything. And I used to be an internet marketer, so you'll find me all over the web.
Yeah, too!